it so it ends up on the recording. In order to get full credit, you need a labeled triangle. I'm not asking for a whole lot, but I need to be able to tell what quadrant it's in. I always get some people that draw a triangle, but there's no X and Y axes, and I can't tell what quadrant it's in. I need to know what quadrant it's in. I need the angle labeled, and I need the sides labeled. That's not a whole lot. Okay, so you got to give me that. So what quadrant is 5/6 in? 2. Good. Draw a triangle in quadrant 2. It's not to scale, just draw a triangle. Next is the angle. It's nice if it's radians. Radians are easier, in my opinion. The denominator just matches. So it's going to be 5/6. A sixth is the little slice. So what goes across from the little one? What's the little side? 1/2. So this is a half. That means the other side is square root of 3/2. Those two go together. It's your 30, 60, 90 triangle. Now you're not in quadrant 1, so something is negative. What gets the negative? Yeah, good. It's the X value because you went left. That is your work. That is the amount of work I need to see. Not asking for a whole lot. Then you answer the question. It says sine. Sine is the Y value. Which one of those is the Y value? 1/2 is your answer. So this is your work. That's your answer. And do a whole mess more of these. This is like the bread and butter of pre-calculus. Like when you walk out of pre-calc, this is like main thing you need to know how to do. All right, what quadrant is pi/3 in? Good, I think you said 1. All right. Your reference angle is just pi/3. A third is a big slice. Do not eat a third of pi. I do not recommend that. That's a lot of pi. All right, that's the larger one. So the large side goes across from that, which is what? Square root of 3/2. That means this side is a half. Is anything negative? No, we're in quadrant 1. So that is your work. Now you answer the question, cotangent. I've got it on the board behind me. Cotangent is X/Y. Good. Now this is going to look like a mess for 1 second. It's going to be 1/2 over square root of 3/2. But what happens? And that'll happen every time. They all have 2's in. So you get 1 over square root of 3. And then you're going to rationalize that square root of 3/3. Good job. And this always happens if you get to the point where you want to work ahead of me and you're ahead. That's totally fine. Just make sure you look back that your answers are correct. Okay. I'm going to keep talking us all through these though. 300 degrees. Okay, this one's in degrees. What quadrant is 300 degrees in? 4. Yeah, you almost went the whole way around. So your reference angle is 60. How did I get 60? All the way around is 360. Good. That's the big angle. So across from that, you have the big side, just square root of 3/2. That means the other side is a half. Something has to be negative though. Yeah, good, because you went down. The Y value is negative. That is your quote unquote work. Then you answer the question. Tangent is Y/X. Or you can still think of that as opposite over adjacent. It's still the TOA part of your SOHCAHTOA. Negative square root of 3/2 over a half. Again, the 2's cancel. That's going to happen every time. You end up with negative square root of 3/1, which is just negative square root of 3. Cool. This feels like it's going okay. Is that a correct assessment? Good. We're just going to keep on going then. Where is 135 degrees? What quadrant? 2, second quadrant. Good job. Now, if it ends with a 5, your reference angle is 45. Again, if it's degrees, stay in degrees. If it's radians, stay in radians. Do not switch them back and forth. I'll have to take off if you do that, and I don't have to do that. So for 45, that means both sides are the same, which is square root of 2/2. But something's negative, the X or the Y? X, good, because we went left. All right, cosine, it's behind me. How do you get cosine? The X value, which is negative square root of 2/2. Perfect. All right, where is 4/3? 4, no, third. So you want to think, let me get my paper clip out. If you go halfway around, that's 3/3. 1 whole pi. So 4/3 just means you went a bit farther. Your reference angle is pi over 3. That's the big one. 1/3 is a lot of pi. Okay, so across from that, square root of 3 over 2, other side, 1/2. What gets the negative? Both. Good. Why both? Left and down, or quadrant 3, however you want to think of it. That's your work. Cosine is x, which is -1/2. Cool. You draw a triangle, you answer the question. That's kind of how you get through. All right, where is 11 pi over 6? Fourth. 12/6 is the whole way around, so you like almost made it. Reference angle is pi over 6. Now that's the little one. A 6th is a little slice. So what goes across from pi over 6? 1/2. Good. Other side, square root of 3 over 2. Which one gets the negative? 1/2. Good. That's your work. Secant, it's behind me. Now up there it says 1 over x. Do not put 1 over square root of 3 over 2. It's going to look awful. Instead, just flip your x value. It will look like this. And then you rationalize. So 2 square root of 3 over 3. Do not put 1 over a fraction. It's going to look like a nightmare. Just flip it. How do I know where it went? So it's a 30, 60, 90 triangle. If one of the sides is square root of 3 over 2, the other one's 1/2. Those two go together. Just the same as the, where did I have it here? Square root of 2 over 2, square root of 2 over 2 go together because that's a 45, 45, 90. That's how they match up. Go ahead.
Like it's always going to be square root of 3 over 2 and 1/2.
Yep.
They're just using the 30, 45, 60 to determine which one.
Correct. Yep. Small, medium, large. All right. Oh, go ahead.
Is it all only going to be 30, 60 for the ratings?
Yeah, that's it. This is your whole world. Your world is very small. Hold on, these are good questions. Let me answer them all. Go ahead. That's when it's the 45, 45, 90.
That one you get 45.
Correct. Or pi over 4. Yeah. Yep. All right. So this one, 45, is in the first quadrant. And so both sides are square root of 2 over 2. Nothing's negative because you're in quadrant 1. Secant means you're going to flip which one? X. You're going to flip the x value. So, well, kind of didn't matter in this one, but sometimes it does. All right, so you're going to flip square root of 2 over 2. That's going to look like this. We did one of these last time. It's going to be 2 square root of 2 over 2, which is just square root of 2. So listen, I usually try to just get everybody to remember that if you flip square root of 2 over 2, you just get square root of 2. So you don't have to do that every time, but you can. It's just a little messy. That's all. Good.
So if we get like an angle that's 90 or less, is the reference angle always going to be the
If you're in quadrant 1, the reference angle just is the angle because you didn't go far enough for it to be any different. All right, where is 225? 3, good. Now, if it ends with a 5, it's got to be 45 because your only 3 choices are 30, 45, and 60. So if it ends with a 5, it has to be 45. These are both square root of 2 over 2, but we're not in quadrant 1, so we need to watch our negatives.
Both negative.
Good job. Perfect. Both of them. Cotangent, it's behind me. And you will have to have it memorized by test day. X over y. Now, so that I don't have to write this out. That would be this over this. You can write that out if you want, but they're the exact same. So anything over itself is 1. And it's even a positive 1 because the negatives canceled out. Now you can write negative square root of 2 over 2 over negative square root of 2 over 2, but I kind of don't recommend it. I think that's a waste of time. Anything over itself is 1. That's how I want your brain to be doing it. All right, got a few more? Where is 150? Second, good job. Reference angle. Good, 30. Oh, you're correct. But again, if it's radians, stay in radians. If it's degrees, stay in degrees. Don't switch them. That's the little slice. So across from it is the little side, which is a half. Good job. Because it's in degrees. If this was in radians, you would put pi over 6. And then, good, this one is negative square root of 3 over 2. So that's your work. Now it says cosecant. Again, it's behind me. You're going to flip the y value. Now your y value is a half. If you flip a half, it's 2. Again, if one of them's a half, the other one's square root of 3 over 2. It's a 30, 60, 90 triangle, so those go together.
Is it just 0?
Go together, yep.
It's like 0.
Yes. Because for 45, 45, 90, the two sides are the same, so they're both square root of 2 over 2. If it's the 30, 60, 90, it's these two. You just have to watch which one goes where. That would be this exact triangle, but the other way around. You're going to have to pay attention, okay? It's done the same thing over and over and over again. Let's try another one. Hey guys, quiet down. Pi is not going to give you a triangle. This is going to be a circle. If it lands on the axes, you can't create a triangle out of it. It's one of your compass points. It's up, down, left, right. Bless you. So using a word like up, down, left, right, where's pi? Left. And that coordinate point, you're allergic to the unit circle, is -1, 0. Bless you. That is the amount of work I need if it's on one of the axes. So it's actually even less work. Cosecant, you're going to flip which one? The y value. Now the y value is 0. If you try to flip 0, you get undefined. You are not allowed to divide by 0. So undefined. By a way of foreshadowing, because next unit we're going to draw graphs of these. If it's undefined, what do you end up with in the graph? I want to see if anyone gets this. One of those things. What do we call that? Asymptote. Yeah, if it's undefined, you're going to get an asymptote in your graph. All right, 7/6. Where is that? 3. Good job. Reference angle is pi over 6. Now listen, so you can understand this. Which one goes where? A 1/6 is a little slice. So across from that, you have the little side, which is 1/2. That means the other side. Good, perfect. And then worry about your negatives because you're not in quadrant 1. Both. Good job. Tangent. Y over x. That's going to be -1/2 over negative square root of 3 over 2. I understand that looks horrible. Just hold on. It's going to be better in a second. All right. The 2's cancel and the negatives cancel. So you get 1 over square root of 3 and then rationalize. Good job. You guys are saying it before I can even write it. All right, 2/3. Where is that? 2. Good job. Your reference angle, pi over 3, it just matches. The denominator just matches. Radians are easier in that way. Now, 1/3 is a lot of pi. That's a big slice. So across from that, you have the biggest side, which is square root of 3 over 2. That means the other side is 1/2. Good job. Negative. I was going to ask that next, but you got it. That's your work. Then you answer the question. It's tangent, y over x. Or you can still think of that as opposite over adjacent. That's where it comes from. It's not different information. The 2's cancel. They always will. You end up with square root of 3 over -1, which is just negative square root of 3. I guess you could leave it over 1 if you want, but no. All right, back to degrees. 315, where is that going to be? 4, good job. You almost went the whole way around. 45, good job. If it ends with a 5, it has to be 45. It's the only one that ends with a 5. So that means both sides square root of 2 over 2, but one of them is negative. Is it the x one or the y one? Good, perfect. You guys have got this. nailing this. All right, sine. Sine is y. That would be the negative one. Keep bumping that, I'm sorry. All right, pi over 2. That's going to be one of your compass point ones. Is pi over 2 up, down, left, or right? Up, good. So that point is 0, 1. That's your work for one of those ones. So it's actually less work. All right, cotangent. Good. X over y would be 0 over 1. Now that's not undefined. That's perfect. That's just 0. When 0 is in the denominator is when you get a problem. That's an undefined. You can't divide by 0. We can't answer that until calculus, sorry. That actually is a thing. There's a whole thing about that, but you'll have to wait till next year. It's called an indeterminate form if you want to Google it. All right, 360. Oh, there's all kinds of indeterminate forms. 0 to the 0 power, infinity to the 0 power, infinity to the infinity power, infinity over infinity. Lots of good stuff. Go ahead. Yes, this is a circle. Good, it's on the right. 1, 0, nice. All right, secant. It's behind me. You're gonna flip 1, which is just 1. Or you could think of it like 1 over 1 is just 1. All right, and then last one, 5/3. Go ahead. Hold on, let's talk about it. 6/3 is the whole way around. So if you only went 5/3, you like almost made it. Yeah, the whole way around is 2 pi, which would be 6/3. So 5/3. Here, also, guys, watch this. Can you just watch? This is 1/3, 2/3. Sorry, my hand doesn't bend that way. 3/3 is the flat line. 4/3, 5/3. You can just count the whole way around. All right, reference angle. Pi over 3, it matches. So if it's thirds, it's thirds. Bless you. Across from that is negative square root of 3 over 2. I threw the negative because you guys haven't been having any problems with that. Other side is 1/2. Cosecant means you flip the y value, which is this one. So it's going to be negative 2 over square root of 3. And then rationalize.